What's up, everybody? It's the Hard DECONSTRUCTION. You can find us on Tumblr. No, you can't. Instagram. Yes, you can. Ooh. No, you can't find us on Yahoo. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, a bunch
Yahoo!
of stuff. YouTube mostly. When on YouTube, give us a like, please. Tell people about us because we love and crave the fame. Just kidding.
Uh-huh.
With your host Comp and
Lemon tea.
today's film is.
Cat Sick Blues 2015.
Wow, it's that old of a movie. Cat
Yeah.
Sick Blues. You want to hear something funny? I closed the IMDb page before, and now I'm cleverly writing it as I'm talking. So now it'll be up. There you go. Cat Sick Blues,
Uh-huh.
2015. When Ted's beloved cat dies, the trauma triggers a mental breakdown. His broken brain prompts him to bring his feline friend back. All he needs is 9 human lives. Directed by Dave
Oh, is that
Jackson.
all, huh?
Written by Andrew Gallagher, Dave Jackson, starring Matthew C. Vaughn, Meg Spencer. Oh, brother, look at that name. Jenny Bezunhout.
Who's that person?
She plays somebody named Steph. Who's the main girl? Shion Donovan. Very pretty girl. Claire, who plays Claire Ellis. Anyway, reason why I picked this film, I was watching... I think there's a YouTube channel. I think it's called... what the hell is it?
Why is she low down on the IMDb?
I guess maybe she pissed off the director. I was watching.
Maybe.
Well, I think I was watching Watch Mojo or What Culture on YouTube. They have these. They're like those YouTube channels that are just lists of stuff. And I remember seeing something about Cat Sick Blues, and I was like, it's interesting. It's a horror movie, and they say it's very good. So I watched it, and I agreed.
Wow,
You didn't really agree
that's
with
a
me.
great... No. I did, but I just had mixed feelings.
So this director, Dave Jackson, I was looking a little bit into the film. I saw it funny because I was randomly Googling. The reason why I actually saw it, I was on YouTube, and there's a lot of like bloggers or old school people that just blog about bizarre films and weird shit like anime and just weird shit in general. There's people that still blog. They actually write sort of online blogs about stuff. And
Cool.
there was one, I can't get the name of it right. I think it was
You know what I
called...
miss? AOL chat rooms.
Me too. Anyway, so I think one of them was called Exploitorama. It was about exploitation films, and I saw a ad for Cat Sick Blues, or it was an article about it. Then I I was like, fuck it, let me watch this movie, and then I got sucked in while watching the film. The movie was
Nice.
obviously very cheap looking, but
I think it was pretty fucking
no,
good
no,
looking
no,
for
no,
what
no.
they did.
cheap in a sense of like some of the budgetary issues, but not for the practical effects. Fantastic practical effects for this film. Obviously, the money went into the practical effects. But the movie does not look cheap in a bad way. It looks cheap in a good way, if that makes any sense. Like, you're impressed at what they did with obviously a very low budget for this film.
I think I was looking it up because they did like a Kickstarter.
Yes.
And I think the budget was like 16 grand or something.
Yeah, I think their original goal was maybe $10,000, and
I don't know.
and they ended up, doing better because
Well,
I guess they must have brought. Anyway, so what I was saying when I was at the Exploitorama, whatever the fucking name of that blog was, like these guys were actually writers for it, and they decided later in their life to become filmmakers, or I think they were filmmakers in their younger days, and they decided they stopped the blog and they moved to Japan. So now they shoot music videos in Japan. So it's interesting.
hey,
If you
that's pretty cool.
that's a fucking great idea. And the video is actually really fucking good. The music videos for it. And then they come out with they're coming out with another short film, because Cat Sick Blues was actually a short film that I think they did in 2011 or 2012, years before.
Specifically, they moved to Japan though.
Yeah, and it has the same same main villain actor in it, and they used that as promotion.
He's great, Matthew Vaughn.
Yeah, they
I
which is like
don't know
the
if
name
I-
of a British director, the guy who did what are those English spy movies that just recently came out? Kingsman. That's not the same
I
guy,
don't
but
know.
it's the same name. And anyway, so they from that short film they used that as I don't think it's anywhere online. It's just like a clip of it that was for the Kickstarter, and it was the same storyline. It was about the guy. What the hell is the character's name?
Ted.
Ted is like terrorizing this couple because he's sad about his cat or something
Poor
like that.
Ted. He just wants his cat.
And it's an
Patrick.
interesting looking suit. It's just like a black cat mask that you can probably get anywhere. I think it's from a Japanese special effects costume house, because I actually looked up the website, and they sell like president like Trump masks. They call it president masks, stuff like that.
Ugh.
Michael Jackson masks.
Ugh.
And yeah, but in Japan they don't know what's going on here, so
Two
really.
pedophiles.
So okay, allegedly. And so this movie starts out with these two women looking at this cat video. It's sort of like this goofy. Everybody looks at stupid cat videos online, and they're fun, and they make you forget about this terrible world we live in. And they're laughing about it. And this girl goes outside to, I guess, harass a cat that's been, I guess, mewling outside of her window at night. And it's actually this weirdo dressed up with a black cat mask and a red top and pants or whatever.
And good for him.
And he decides to
He's rocking it.
He kills her, and then he kills her roommate. Right? He kills a roommate at the doorstop, and he brings
he's got the cool like Freddy Krueger throwback hand.
cat gloves. And he brings the girl's head, and it's a good looking prop. It's a really good looking prop of a severed head.
Yeah.
And he lays it down to him, and it's obviously the blackest of black humor.
And then when it opens up with the credits, it's like, you know where this film's going.
Yeah, because he just sits down, and it's a very extended sequence of the guy looking at a cat video.
As it's playing like... it's playing like some like punk song.
Yeah. But I'm saying before it even got to that part, he watches the video twice. And the girl's severed head is on the nearby table. And the movie starts out like that. So we get into... The cat video that they were watching earlier was from this... Shion Donovan's character, Claire. Her little cat. I forgot the cat's name, even though they say it millions of times.
What a cool name.
Shion Donovan. She likes to be in horror films, so that's what's interesting. I looked her up because I thought she was so cool in this movie.
Yeah.
As Claire Ellis. And Claire Ellis, unfortunately, is having a bit of a slump with her cat.
Day.
Yeah, it gets worse because her cat is not like performing. The cat has to wear a cone because it's ill for some reason. She has her friend, who I think she had a lesbian experience with, but wasn't sure about it, because she's had.
Oh, did they kind of say that?
Yeah, they did that at the beginning, and the girl was like obviously hitting on her. That's the only reason why she was coming by. So she said, "No, I can't do that." Anyway, so the girl leaves, and then this creep shows up, and I was confused because I thought he was the guy in the beginning. I thought this rapist guy was the cat guy for some reason, but the guy had a very distinct face.
He hangs himself at the end, right?
Yeah, he does kill himself at the end.
Okay, good.
And yes, very good. And he ends up he's hugging the cat. I don't know why she would let this guy into the fucking house in the first place, because he was a fan, but he obviously looked mentally deranged and shit. I apologize. It's not her fault. And then he ends up like snapping the cat's neck and throwing it out the window, and you can kind of laugh at that scene, I guess, because it's just so absurd. But
I didn't expect it at all. I really was like, oh my god.
I knew that had to happen. And then he violated her, and I was like, oof, he raped her. And then it's not it doesn't seem like it's an exploitative rape scene because it cuts back to the camera. It's not like showing her.
I mean, their exploitative is the
violence.
Posting it online. No, right. I was going to say I found that posting it online and people watching it and talking about it more exploitive, like, exploitation film style.
I thought that was actually clever, that it was like, the horror this woman has to relive this shit. Like, it was another sort of...
Yeah, but I don't think, in real life, little kids on the street would be like... I mean,
you'd be surprised.
I would. I know we live in a horrible world,
in this culture of trolling people, you don't think that would fucking happen when people laugh at other people dying and shit like that, and just
not random kids in the street.
You never know, man. If people dab in the street, then who knows? People they're all fucked up types of shit.
Maybe.
Anyway,
you might be right.
So obviously Claire's very traumatized, and we're also showing this guy's Ted's becoming. His bloodlust is becoming even more. He's just killing.
Insatiable.
He's having cam sessions with this girl who's dressed up as a cat.
He's gone meowed.
Ah, that's a good one. And he ends up showing up at her house and killing her, and then keeping her head in his house. I don't understand how. I'm sure finding can't cam girls, they can shut off their location. Like if a cam girl is like in New York City, she can shut off the feed to New York. Yeah, she could
block New York, yeah.
So I guess she was okay in Australia.
Or she could use like a VP or something. VR, whatever. You could block your VPN.
So Ted found her anyway and cut her head off. And so that's 3 people he got on his thing. So the movie is just like following these two dual storylines. You're obviously watching Ted because he's very mentally ill and he's killing these people because you don't really find out till the end why he's killing these people, but he needs 9 lives in their quarts of blood to, I guess, resuscitate.
I really like
cat.
how deranged it gets.
It is very deranged because there's a certain sequence at the end where I thought, I was like, whoa, this is like going into another fucking.
Oh, was it the music video?
No, the one with where the girl's pregnant with the cat.
Oh, that's like a whole other weird thing.
Yeah, I know. What was the music video sequence?
Where it's like basically a Ted Bundy sorority house massacre.
Oh yeah, that part. Yeah, where he goes and
that song is
girls.
fucking great, man. Like
this, what was your
Mitsubishi? I looked up the name of the band.
Okay.
Mitsubishi, like this, I guess, like the car. But that song was amazing. And that whole kill sequence was great. And then, like, the stuff that they have him do, like, at one point, he's, like, he slices someone's throat, and then he's just pacing back and forth, and it has, like, the music playing, and then it just goes to silence, and you just see it for what it is as a man who thinks he's a cat pacing back and forth as someone's dying on the floor. I thought that was brilliant. Like, I fucking loved that.
Here's the thing. Claire's sequences are not as sort of arresting as Ted's, obviously, because obviously she's the victim of something, and you're obviously they set the film up. I thought she was gonna get killed in the beginning of the movie. They set it up as obviously there's gonna be this collision towards the end between the both of them, and she's gonna be victimized once again, not via rape, but just
he wanted her to be the host for Patrick, I guess.
Yeah, but I think that was it was very strange. It was very strange, but
I think he thought he was gonna feed her the blood, and then she would either transform into Patrick or give birth to Patrick.
Right, just like in the dream sequence. But Ted's character is not sort of enigmatic or attractive, sort of in the Christian Bale, Patrick Bateman way, where he's like you're sort of rooting for him. You're just sort of watching him do his thing as opposed to rooting for him because you're just like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Because his murder is like he's killing all these women, and you're like, and it's not like if you have a problem with, oh god, I can't watch this.
Misogynist?
Yeah, like well, she brings that up at the end.
Yeah,
but because like obviously she thinks that he has issues with women because apparently he probably does because he's fucking killing all these women out of nowhere because he can't like kill a guy
or maybe he just really wants his cat back.
Could be that. And
I mean, why do we have to assume the worst about this man?
But what were your initial problems with this film? Because you said you weren't sure that you liked, and you still don't know.
And I still feel this way, but I mostly like the film. But it's it's got a bit of that like pretentious hipster sort of feeling.
I can see that, right?
With the dialogue and the characters, and it's like not with Ted at all, but with Claire. She kind of comes off a little bit like, I don't know, I could see her in like Brooklyn, like living like Williamsburg.
Yeah, it's that very dry, but I think they're mocking that. That's the thing, because it's a very dry.
I think they might be. But
it's very dry Australian humor. Like, listen, the fact that the guy just
I don't know Australian humor.
Me neither. I don't know. I guess it's more of a dry British European humor. Because, I mean, like, he's walking around cutting people's heads. Like, it's obviously black humor, and they're mocking those type of people. Like the people on the internet, so it is
like when it started off at the beginning, people looking at the cats, and the cat's got all this funny music, and
they're making fun of it. Do you not see that?
I know they're making fun of it, but like, I don't know. There's like such a thin line of like, it feels kind of like pretentiously a little bit.
Sort of like a West.
I very quickly got over that and was enjoying the film. I most of the time liked the film.
So here's the thing: like, this is a slasher film. But obviously there's
very well made slasher.
Yes,
film.
it is. It's much better than your typical sort of slasher film where people 5 teens show up at a house and they just get killed. And this one has a definite body count of at least 9 people because he kills 9 people. Mm-hmm. And it's like graphic.
Oh, and the dick he's wearing is amazing.
Yes, I like the part that he goes to this guy, I guess, who made him his cat claws, and he decides he wants like a cat cock. And he just walks around with the cat cock. And it's like, I like that the actor, Matthew C. Vaughn, has no embarrassment of, like, he's just walking around with this big cat dick, walking around and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's a character, you know what I mean? It's like, there was no fear in it. Because I think I was looking through YouTube for more of these guys' stuff. And Matthew C. Vaughn was, I guess, part of, like, a comedy group. So
he's
obviously.
Amazing. I love him.
And he's, like, totally. he's totally like stone cold like serious in the film, but even though he's like a comedic actor, and he sort of carries that around everywhere. I think that's his sort of persona, the character.
Yeah.
Of just sort of like the stone cold, like, oh yeah, I can't tell you that, that kind of voice. And it was interesting because he's very, very good in this film, and I hope he's in more stuff. But I don't know if this is such an obscure, because you know how like another exploitation film, which is Hobo with a Shotgun, it was obscure,
Yeah.
even though that had like a lead star that actually like was famous,
Mm-hmm.
and but nothing else came from the director really. You know what I mean? Like he
did that great young.
Yeah,
Buck
why is for
one
Young Buck one, and but you
in
know
the
you want to see
80s.
like it's because these sort of people get swallowed up and become like assistant directors on other films. They don't really have their
I don't
own films.
understand that. I mean,
it's a very difficult
this is
business
a great
because
movie.
you know what? Instead
like,
of
this guy did a lot with like
this is a
less than
lot.
20 grand.
And the thing is, the good thing about it is that it's one of those word of mouth films because I look online and I joined the Facebook page for it, and people dress up like the character. They dress up like it's not a hard costume, but getting the gloves and the mask. I guess you can buy the mask, so because it's already made mask. It wasn't like
It's just a red
specifically
shirt,
made for
but
this
that
film.
mask is like pretty obvious looking.
Yeah, and the gloves I think would be the difficult ones to make, but they made them, and I saw fans wearing it, and I think the director Dave Jackson had a short called Gotcha Gotcha, because gachapons are those little Japanese vending machines that have little toys inside the balls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think he just made a recent horror film like that, and it got funded very quickly. So I mean, like he's
good.
And he makes really cool music videos in Japan now. So if you look up Dave Jackson, or if you just go on Facebook and look at the Cat Sick,
I want to look
see
into him because
it's a good movie. I
awesome.
really enjoyed this film, and I really fucking like because it goes in places towards the end. Like I don't know if I really want to completely spoiler it, but it goes towards places in the third act where you're like, oh, like it became fucking like Dario Argento all of a sudden. But
yeah,
then
I want to find the name of that song.
But then it has
good.
Then it has a really good resolution towards it that lets it not be just a cheap cop out. Do you know what I mean? And it's a film that has a complete ending towards it. Would I've liked to see certain characters survive at the end?
It does get a little bizarre in that dream sequence thing.
Yeah.
Mitsubishi Repulsion.
Yeah, it's just a very well made slasher, and it's hard to say, oh, it's a good slasher because the slashers are so fucking generic that
there's a million of them,
right? But this one actually, there's a humor towards it. I wouldn't say it's on the level of like Shaun of the Dead, but it certainly is that type of film.
Well, a totally different type of movie.
No, but it's a comedy with horror elements. It's the same shit.
There's a million comedies with horror.
I know,
elements.
but like
who
this leans more.
That? It was the guy that made American Horror Story, right?
But this, yeah, he's a smart man.
He created that genre. He said
this leans towards Shaun of the Dead more than it does Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Do you know what I mean? Like
I get what you're saying.
That sort of very European black humor with very graphic violence.
Don't be racist.
Oh, brother. And anyway, so I really fucking enjoyed this film, and I think I think a lot of people should see this and know more about it. I hope to see more from this director. Like I hope he gets like a lot of money. I hope the fact that he's making it on a list is good.
I was looking up the Matthew Vaughn guy, and he's in another movie that sounds almost like a dog version of this movie called Man Dog Man. It's a short film about a guy who loses his dog, so he makes some human victim into his pet.
Oh God, really? Who's the director of it?
Jax McMullen Kondo.
Oh, it's a cool poster too. Oh, but that's the same thing as fucking Tusk, so we'll see. I'm sure it's better than Tusk. I don't really like Tusk.
Well, Tusk is silly.
Yes. Anyway,
I like Tusk. It's funny.
I know you guys did. Anyway, so that's that. What rating would you give this film?
I would give this movie. It was like surprisingly good. I'm gonna give it 8.5.
Good. Yes.
Out of 10. Killing someone, and then 8.5 out of 10. Going to your grief counselor's house under her bed and just like humping the bed up and down like a weird cat, and then she pulls off the covers and you have a giant strap-on cat penis.
Yeah.
And you kill her with it.
So a really good, great practical effects, very funny, really well directed. Like these are people. This is like the guys who did this. They used like I said, they wrote a blog where they talked about other films, but they knew what the fuck they're doing. Like they, stepped their
Yeah.
shit up and they made a good horror film, and it's worth watching. So I'll also give it an 8.5 out of 10. Being a artistic guy who created, unknowingly created a serial killer's killer gloves and killer cock, and then going and burning the blueprints for it, so nobody will know it was you.
Uh-huh.
And with that, Danny, what's the final word?